Hello again, ladies and gents. Hopefully, you're still doing well. I know there's been a lot of problems with the math test. You probably saw my message saying, hey, can you go in and complete it? And meanwhile, I think all of you have. I have a call into our IT people to see what can be done about that. So we'll just sit tight with it. As soon as I know what's going on, I'll get those marks back to you and everything else, okay? So as you can see, we're on page 135, comparing and ordering fractions. This page is getting you set up for the rest of the unit, whether they're asking you to put fractions in order, to say which is biggest, smallest in the middle, to add fractions, to subtract fractions, anything else like that. This is the lesson that you're going to be depending on. And basically it's all about finding common denominators. Okay. You can't compare and order fractions. You can't add, you can't subtract without doing common denominators. Okay. So first off, to find a common denominator, easiest way, take the denominators. So numerator, denominator, and multiply them together. Okay, so as you can see, we have 8, 5, and 4. Now this is with three fractions. If we're looking for, when you're doing a common denominator, you're looking for a number that's in both, that's a multiple of both or all three fractions. So in this case, we're looking for a number that's in the 8 times tables, the 5 times tables, and the 4 times tables. Okay, guaranteed way of finding a common denominator, just multiply the denominators together. So like if it was only 4/5 and 3/4 that we were saying to compare, then we could just do 5 times 4 for 20 as our common denominator. Since we have 8 in there as well, we could do 5 times 4 is 20, times 8 would be 160. My kids are going to come in, so it's going to get a little bit noisy. But that's a little bit big. So in this case, what you can do is see, okay, like, does a smaller one, like 5 times 4 is 20, work with 8? Well, no. 20 is not in the 8 times tables. So check another pairing. Like maybe we could do, instead of 4 and 5, maybe we can do 8 and 4. So 8 times 4 is 32, but 32 is not in the 5 times table, so that doesn't work. So then let's check the last pairing. 8 and 5. 8 times 5 is 40. Does that work with 4? Yes, 40 is in the 4 times tables. If it didn't work with doing 2 out of the 3, then just do all 3 together, okay? It's not wrong if you do all 3 together, it's just you're going to get a bigger number, that's all. But it's totally fine. And especially for this, it's not a really big deal at all. The only time where it would come into play is when we start adding and subtracting. It just means that the last step that we're going to do is put a fraction into lowest terms, and you may get a couple extra steps doing that. But again, it's totally fine. Okay, so from here, we're taking 5/8 and we're turning it into a fraction over 40. So we're saying to ourselves, okay, well, I know my common denominator is going to be 40 because 8 times 5 is 40, and 40 is in the 4 times table as well. So what did I have to do to 8 to make it 40? Well, I did 8 times 5. So that this remains the same fraction, this is an equivalent, meaning equal fraction, I have to do the same thing here. So times 5, which is going to be 25. Over the next one, what did I have to do to 5 to make it 40? Well, I did times 8, which means I have to do the same up top. 8 times 4 is 32. And then over here, what did I do to 4 to make it 40? Well, I multiplied by 10. So we're going to do the same thing up here. And that would give us 30 over 40. And then, for putting these in order, well, now that they all have common denominators, they're all fractions over 40, it's very easy to put them into order. 4/5 would be the largest. And then next would be 3/4. And then 5/8. Okay, so 4/5 is greater than 3/4, which is greater than 5/8. So hopefully that's clear. We'll do another example. So at this one, we have our numerator is 5, our denominator is 3, and you can see the same thing. Numerators are larger than the denominator. These are improper fractions. Okay, so It's not really a big deal. We still do the same thing. So let's go hunting for a common denominator. And yes, I know you can already see it down here, but just we'll pretend we don't see that. Okay. So let's go checking the pairs first, because if a common denominator is smaller, it makes life a little bit more simple. So we can do 3 times 2 is 6. 6 is not in the 5 times table, so that doesn't work. Let's try 3 times 5 is 15. 15 is not in the 2 times table. Okay, so let's try the last pairing, 2 and 5. 2 times 5 is 10. 10 is not in the 3 times table. So that's not going to work. So we're going to have to do 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 5. So 3 times 2 is 6. 6 times 5 is 30. And that's how we got our common denominator. Okay, so same process here. We're taking 5/3 and turning it into something over 30. So what do I have to do to 3 to make it 30? Well, it gets multiplied by 10. You're saying, whoa, 10, where did that come from? There's no 10. Well, it's because we use both of these. 2 times 5 is 10. Okay, so then same up here. 5 times 10 is 50. And then we're saying, okay, I'm turning 3 over 2 into something over 30. What do I have to do to 2 to make it 30? Well, 2 was multiplied by the other two denominators, 3 and 5. 3 times 5 is 15. So that's what we're doing there. 15. And obviously we're doing the same to the numerator, so that doesn't get messed up. 3 times 15. So let's see, 15 times 2 would be 30, plus another 15 would be 45. And then we're doing 5 multiplied by something to give us 30. Well, it was multiplied by 3 and by 2. 2 times 3 is 6. So we're doing times 6. So then 8 times 6 is 42. Whoops, nope. Thought that didn't sound right as I said it so confidently. 8 times 6 is 48. Okay. So now we can order these. Our largest being 5/3. So 5/3 is greater than 8/5 is the next one, is greater than 3 over 2. Okay. Hopefully that's clear. This unit is definitely going to force you to sharpen up on your multiplication facts, as you saw me make a boo-boo there in front of everybody and on the World Wide Web. So now the whole world's going to know that I'm not perfect. It's just going to shatter everything. Anywho, I know, dad jokes, and there's at least 3 of you rolling your eyes. It's the best I got, I'm sorry. You can see the homework, 3 massive questions for your mathematical enjoyment. And then same thing, tomorrow morning, I will have the answers to these 3 posted and showing you the work and how to do it in case you had any problems. Obviously, Mathify is there to give you a hand to get through anything that you're having problems with. And I will also have the new lesson up tomorrow as well, so that you can, and we're going to keep going with a lesson a day until we get through fractions. And seeing as our final test was a little bit more of a disaster, to be honest, it's disappointing that the tech is not cooperating like that. I'm going to try to do some smaller assignments that you'll just hand in. Like it'll probably be some of the assessment focused questions, and then maybe just a very small at-home test where you can just take a picture of it or something and hand to me. Because I don't really want you guys having to redo tests or anything else like that, because that's not nice. Alrighty. Thanks, ladies and gents. Hope you're doing well. Bye for now.